Alright, what is good, Slap City? In this video, we're going to do a recap of Power Slap 12. For those who don't know, I was there, and some of you might even saw me on the broadcast. Your boy got on the broadcast real quick, which was dope. But yeah, anyway, got in earlier this morning off a red eye, didn't sleep a wink, and then went back to the crib, passed out, and then woke up and it was fucking dark out, so... Yeah, your boy is all types of fucked up right now from a time change standpoint. And so I wanted to get this done. I wanted to get something out to you guys because I'm going to need a day or two after this to get back to real life, so to speak. So, yeah, go ahead and skip ahead to the chapter you want to hear. I separated every single fight. We'll go through the televised portion, and then we do know a couple results from the early prelims that if I have time and have energy, I will talk a little bit about. But yeah, so some quick housekeeping before we get into it. So this was a dope card. 3 of the 4 prelims ended in vicious KOs, highlight KOs. So it was a crazy start. And it was so dope to see different people headlining, like not heavyweights or even light heavyweights for that matter. I mean, we had middleweights and lightweights headlining and co-headlining Power Slap 12. This was dope. It was great to see, and it was well deserved from everyone. I wanted to react real quick to the Power Slap signing with YouTube. This was brilliant. I mean, Dana White, if there's one thing that guy knows how to do, it's how to build and grow a business. And, like, this was the only move, in my opinion. It's all about eyeballs. It's all about eyeballs for Power Slap right now. The more eyeballs you have, the more ad revenue. And there was just a roadblock to how many eyeballs would be on Power Slap. Like, anybody that was watching Power Slap, for the most part, was downloading Rumble for Power Slap. Like, Power Slap wasn't getting the rub from Rumble. There was no rub from Rumble. They were simply a vessel to distribute their product. So... yeah, this was the only move. Shout out to Power Slap. Brilliant. And yeah, anyway, with that said, let's get into it. So we had, kicking off the card, we had Wesley, All the Smoke Drain, taking off KLEE, the Chief Kanakoa. This was a good fight. These are 2 animated guys, so we knew this one should be fireworks. And that's exactly what we got. Wesley Drain comes out, eats the Chief's first slap like it was nothing. I was like, Wesley's fired up too. He was doing his signature tongue reaction. So, and then comes back on the Chief and doesn't have his best shot. And then the Chief, I've been saying, I'll say it again, and I will continue to say it. This guy is legit. You have to knock him out or you're fucked. Straight up. Yeah, tough one for Wesley there. I didn't think Wesley looked bad at all. I did think he looked a little bit nervous. He kind of seemed a little bit nervous, but he didn't look bad. It was just the Chiefs' night. I think that after the main event, I think that you should do the trilogy and just get that out of the way between Isaiah and Bordeaux, and the Chief could either take one off and wait and fight the winner, or he could fight Godfrey in a number 1 contender fight. So, yeah, shout out to the Chief. Shout out to Wesley. He didn't look bad. And then next we had Aaron Turner taking on Mena. So I got this one wrong. I got this one completely wrong. And when I say completely, I mean completely. I didn't think that there was any way that it was seeing a decision. I mean, I actually got to watch Aaron Turner slap from 6 feet away. And let me fucking tell you, this guy... that dude has a cannon. And Mena has highlight knockout power too. So, I mean, even though we had seen Turner take a slap and seen West take a slap but also been knocked out, I just didn't think that this was going to go all the way regardless of who ended up going down. But, I mean, shout out to Mena because he went with his left hand after hurting his right hand. And there was a second there where I thought that he wasn't going to continue. And he comes out, fights with his left hand on his last slap, not even with it being the last slap. Like, he knew he was going to have to take one more from Turner and, like, go with his left hand. For all intents and purposes, he knew he wasn't going to fuck him up with his left hand. If he landed a clean slap with his left hand and then was able to eat Turner's last slap, it was in the bag. But he knew he was going to have to take one more, so it was just so impressive. If it was just the last slap and like he had already been slapped as much as he was going to, then it's not nearly as impressive. He did that knowing that he was going to have to take another one. And yeah, just a true gangster. And for Turner, he has all of what you need. He just needs to put it all together into one performance. He had 2 flinches. That is something that you can't be doing if you want to get to the highest level, just because you can't afford to take extra slaps at heavyweight. But he 8 shots from Wes Mena. And then for Wes Mena, another win, man. Another win. He is like, him or Siegman could both get a title shot with one more win. So I think that you might have to do that fight. I think you might end up having to do that fight. I mean, Dorian ended up getting another win. I think that they probably should have gave him a rematch to begin with. So I think that it would make a lot of sense to put Wes Mena back up against Siegman in the rematch. So yeah, shout out to both guys for that one. Next we had Anthony the King DeFrank, taking on Riley Slap Shady Montoya. Now, I loved this fight. I love both guys. I really do. And I didn't know that they had beef before this. I really didn't. And if there was some chirping, I didn't think it was serious. So, turns out they actually had/have some beef still, even after this, from what I can see. And it was an entertaining fight for as long as it lasted. And fucking Slap Shady. Like, holy shit. So DeFrank comes out, puts a good slap on Riley. Riley eats it, then slaps DeFrank, and DeFrank gets called for a flinch, so has to take another one. And then Riley comes out and lands a fucking perfect slap on DeFrank and puts him down. And Riley switched to right on one here, and that threw me off completely. I mean, that's proven to be, if you can master it, that has proven to be a very, very, very effective slap. Like, whatever he did between Road to the Title and now, keep doing that shit, Riley, because that was crazy. And for DeFrank, he looked like himself. He put on the show. He had a dope entrance, which, I mean, DeFrank very much is at the place now, even as short into his career as he is, he's at that polar figure where it's like no one's in the middle on him. You either really like him or you don't like him. So yeah, I mean, he definitely fueled that fire. He got caught with a great slap, and it happens. It's power slap. That's a possibility every time you get up there. You'll see the King again. He'll be back, but would like to see him take some time off to make sure he's healing properly. Amazing performance from Riley. And then next we had KO Chris Thomas taking on Chris Debow. So, wow, dude. Wow. KO Chris is back, dude. He is back. That was an absolute highlight reel knockout from Christopher Thomas, man. That was nuts. And shout out to Chris Debow, because that guy is so fucking tough, dude. That kid is so tough. So if you watch, he looked like he was completely out cold, like stiff. But somehow before 10, somehow they were still counting 10. I don't understand why they were counting 10 to begin with. Again, he looked stiff. But somehow before 10, you start to see Debow fucking crawling up like from the grave. Like, this kid is a fucking zombie, man. There's just no way you don't respect him. That shot knocks basically everybody out. Anyway, yeah, KO Chris is back, man. He missed on the first slap, hit him with a club, and then comes back, eats Debow's slap. Debow hit him with a good shot. He clipped him right on the chin from what I could see. I didn't get a chance to, I haven't really done like my notes study where I like really watch the fight and take notes yet, but from what I could see, Chris Debow hit him right on the chin, and KO Chris was able to eat it and then land the fucking hammer coming back. There's just a lot of matches that you can make that make sense at welterweight now. So this was huge for Chris. He needed this win. He needed this win so badly. Not like they were going to cut him or anything, but like, if you want to get back to the title, he needed this. And he got it. He got it. Amazing performance from Chris Thomas here. It's tough for Debow because he had originally won the coin toss. He ended up forfeiting it because he missed weight. The loss itself, not something to hang your head about if you're Debow, but missing weight wasn't the best look. So hopefully he can clean that up moving forward, because when you're at the top of a division, forfeiting the coin toss is just not something you can get away with. Yeah, you live and you learn for Debow. He'll be back. And then next we had Pono Pau taking on Dorian Perez. So this was the opening fight of the main card. So first and foremost, I mean, holy shit, dude. Dorian Perez, like, how this guy is able to just eat these shots, and not only eat them, but just make them look like they are nothing, is second to none. I don't understand how it's possible, to be honest. And, like, he's a big guy. He's definitely a big guy, but he's not that big. And he just munches on these slaps, dude. It is absolutely insane. And then Pono putting his chin on display as well. I mean, the first one that Dorian landed on him got him a little bit, but he hung in there and showed his chin. So I think this one should have went to an extra round. And the reason being because I do think that Dorian won the first and third round, but I think they missed the club on his second slap. I think that should have been a club. I think that they missed that one. And I think that would have been a 10-8 for Pau, which would have made it a draw, and you would have went to an extra round per the new rules. So yeah, tough one for Pau there. I thought Dorian looked good. I thought he looked good. I thought he landed good shots minus the second one, and then put his chin on display. So yeah, it was good shit from Dorian, and then it was good shit from Pau. I mean, Pau landed good shots on Dorian. He wasn't missing. Like, it's not like Pau was missing. He was hitting him with good shots. Dorian is just a freak of nature. I do think that they missed that call, though. And who wouldn't have wanted to see another round of those guys? Like, come on. Of course you would. So, yeah, it was a good fight, but I thought it should have went to an extra round. And then next we had Michelle Brown taking on Paige Vanzant. So this was actually the fight where I got on the broadcast. I told the people that were sitting next to me, I didn't know them, but we hit it off right away. And I had told them that I wanted to get on the broadcast. And so when I saw those cameras, I made sure. Put on that crowd presence. And yeah, it was during this fight. And so this was, it was a fight. It was a fight. So neither of them were able to hurt the other. And so it really came down to like a gamesmanship game. And I mean, dude, this is Paige Vanzant. Like, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to really, really definitively beat her to get a decision win, especially if she doesn't foul, which I don't believe she did. I haven't rewatched this one. I apologize. I haven't rewatched it. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't think Michelle looked bad. I thought that she looked decent. I think she has a lot of potential. But this was a big jump for her. I mean, she went from one fight on the early prelims to fighting Paige Vanzant on the televised card. I mean, that is a big jump. Not to say that she like was out of her element. I mean, she seemed comfortable in the moment. She put on a good show. Like, she was down. She was playing the slaps off. One thing's for sure, she has a chin. She has a chin. She has a chin. She can take shots. So yeah, she could be huge. I just think that this was a little too soon. She needs a few more matches to really find herself as a power slapper. Like, find her defense, find her offense, and really put it all together. You see a lot of these people, like an Aaron Turner, who has absolutely everything you need to make a star. He just hasn't had enough matches to really put it all together. So, and then for Paige, like, I mean, I didn't think that Paige looked like bad, like get her off the stage, but I would have expected a little bit more. On a couple of her slaps, she just straight up missed. Like, coming up too short. I want to say this was her third or fourth match, so not a newbie. Yeah, it was okay. And then in the co-main, so the co-main event, we had Robert, the real deal Trujillo, taking on Dakota, the Maritime Menace McGregor, for the first ever lightweight strap. And Trujillo proving why he is called the real deal. and he reminded all of us why they made the reality show in the first place with the lightweights. They were trying to find anybody that could compete with him, and they definitely found it. Like, Dakota, I was a little upset because when I heard the scorecards for this, I was like, dude, what? Like, Trujillo won that fight straight up. He won the fight, but it was closer than the judges made it sound, I think. Dakota showed off his chin, dude. And I always say that whether or not you have a chin is not if you get knocked down. It's, can you take the hit and stay conscious? And then from there on out, it's all about recovery. And one thing that Dakota is absolutely elite at, and he proved again in this fight, he is elite at recovering. He got his world rocked twice by Trujillo and was able to stay in the fight. And he was landing good shots on Trujillo. He went toe-to-toe with that dude for 5 rounds. Trujillo just has a granite chin. Like, his chin is certified platinum. He was just taking the shots. It was pretty wild, man. So yeah, Dakota, I thought he looked good. He is an absolute dog, man. He kept coming back. He kept coming back for more. I do think that there were a few things that could have been called that weren't called. We'll go over those in the breakdown. You guys voted for this one for the breakdown, so this will be the first breakdown, and it'll probably end up being the longest breakdown I've ever done because there was a lot to go over, and it was 5 rounds. But one thing that you might have noticed in that fight is that Dakota's slap looked different, and if you did notice that, you're right, because it did look different. Now, what you have to remember is that there was a big size difference between Dakota and Trujillo. Like, Trujillo, he's not a tall guy, but he is not a small guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he weighed more than Dakota in there. But there is a height difference. So Dakota wasn't able to swing up and through like he normally would because of the height difference. So his slap looked different. He had to, be much more bent, lean forward, and come in much more flat than he did in the past. And he was executing. Trujillo was just able to eat him. This was a huge jump for Dakota. Like, he went from 2 fights on road to the title to a co-main event against Trujillo, a proven name in a title fight on the biggest card. Every card that Power Slap does moving forward is now the biggest card. Like, dude, Andrew Tate was in the building, and I thought he looked comfortable for the most part. He was nervous. I mean, come on. There's no way you weren't nervous. There's no way Trujillo wasn't nervous either. So, yeah, good fight. Good shit to both guys. And one thing we knew is that no matter who won, it couldn't have happened to a better guy. These are both 2 great guys. And then lastly, in the main event, we had Brandon, the Butcher Bordeaux, taking on Isaiah Quinones in the biggest rematch in Power Slap history. And wow, dude. Brandon Bordeaux, your new champ, absolutely showing out. He went out, took the hit, and then delivered the kill shot. Puts Isaiah down in the very first round. I was a little surprised because Isaiah, the reason, in my opinion, that he won the last fight was because he recovered properly. Like, he got dropped in the last fight and then recovered properly on a knee and beat the 10 count. And he didn't do that here. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if he was more rocked this time, or Bordeaux talked a lot of shit in the build-up. By design. He was, I've seen at least one comment from him trolling Isaiah about the fact that he had to stay on a knee, whereas he jumped up, which is it's funny because in hindsight, Isaiah actually did the right thing. So he's trolling him for doing the right thing. But who knows? Maybe that had some mind games. I don't know. What I do know is that you have a new champ. And I do think that you have to run the trilogy. I mean, it's 1-1. Isaiah was a great champ. He won the belt, defended it right away, didn't complain, didn't take time off, didn't pull out of a fight to keep the belt longer. He is game, dude. He is game. And so I think that you have to do that rematch. Just finish the trilogy. It's fresh on people's brains. They were both exciting fights. There's no one that doesn't want to see it. So do it now and don't hold up the division later on. I think that it'll be a mistake to not do it right away, because you could do the Chief versus Godfrey. If I was matchmaking middleweight, that's what I would do. I would do the immediate rematch on whenever they're both ready, and then I would do the Chief Godfrey in a number one contender fight. But yeah, Isaiah came out on the first one and missed. So he missed, ended up breaking Bordeaux's nose. That was nuts. It was nuts. So when you miss short in power slap, like if you miss short and high, you're just going to glance off the top of their cheek and you're going to fuck somebody's nose up. So that's what you saw. He was a little out of range and he missed a little bit high. So he just sweeps across the top of Bordeaux's cheek, and then the palm ends up taking the nose from the side. So it was gnarly. It was gnarly. It looked broken to me, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't broken. And Bordeaux is just tough as nails. Yeah, he did exactly what he said he was going to do, and he put him down. And yeah, congrats to Bordeaux. Couldn't have happened to a better dude. He deserves it. And Isaiah, solid-ass dude. Hope he gets the rematch. And then, so I'm trying to think what we knew from the early prelims. So I know that Andrew Fields got a knockout, a vicious knockout on the early prelims. Could not be happier for that guy. Very, very, very talented kid, and we knew that. He just hadn't had a match. We hadn't seen him in forever. And so I was super happy when he got that call. It just shows that you have to stay ready and take the opportunity when it comes. I mean, it was an early prelim, short notice fight against a newcomer that he knew nothing about, but he said yes, got the knockout, and he is in the mix. He is in the mix. And I'd like to see him go down to 55, to be honest with you. I really would. Not that he can't win at 170. I mean, he can clearly win at 170. I just think that if you're looking for somebody to take on Trujillo and give Trujillo a run for his money, I think that Fields is a guy you have to look at. He's not a big welterweight. I think he can definitely make 55. So I hope that that's what he ends up doing. We'll see. But congrats to him. That knockout looked vicious. We've only seen it on Instagram, so I can't wait to see the full fight when it drops. Super happy for him. Congrats to him. And then we had Angel Merrill taking on Hunter Hassanen on the early prelims. And this was a war. Power Slap ended up posting like the entire fight slap by slap on Instagram, so you know it was a war. And I would expect nothing less from Angel. I thought that him and Alex had fight of the year on road to the title, and that's what you can expect every time you see this kid fight. It might not always be the cleanest or whatever, but it is going to be a fucking war every time that kid steps up there. That kid's chin is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'd also like to see him drop down. I think that's what he's planning on doing. And Hunter was landing some bombs on him, man. It looked like Angel had him rocked at one point, but Hunter has a good chin, good at recovering, and has a very, very, very heavy hand. And so, yeah, I think that there were some fouls involved. I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like a war. Really like both those kids. Can't wait to see that one when it drops. Congrats to Hunter, and congrats to both of them for even being on the card to begin with. And then we had Logan Greenhall got a TKO, I believe, over Cody Young on the early prelims. It looked like a vicious slap. I saw Cody after, and his face was pretty busted up, but he was in good spirits, and I guess it wasn't the first slap. So anytime it's not the first slap, like, you can't be shamed in necessarily going down as long as it was a good fight and you showed heart and showed some promise. You can definitely look good in a while. So looking forward to seeing that one back as well. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can remember from the early prelims. I'm not sure exactly when the next card's going to be. I thought it was in Miami, but I'm hearing that it might not be. So yeah, a little upset about that because I was hoping to have a Power Slap event on my home turf, but it doesn't even sound like they have a date for the next event, so I have a feeling that you're going to be seeing a lot of breakdowns from this card. Typically, when there's, the longer the gap is between events, the more breakdowns I'm able to do, so look out for those. First one will be Dakota versus Trujillo. Any listeners on here that don't follow me on Instagram, go follow me on Instagram, and I post a lot on Instagram, and I very much use it like Twitter, constantly tweeting on my story, basically, so yeah, go shoot me a follow on Instagram. And yeah, look out for those breakdowns. Overall, I thought it was a good card. And yeah, until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.